Right. Okay. Good evening, everyone, and special thanks to Mr. Sandeep for the introduction. Thank you, sir, for that. So, students, I see some are still joining, but I'll start off with now. I just wanted to let you all know. Now it's like this. Now our session, right? I'm going to focus it on mainly 4 areas. Okay, that is the focus areas for the exam. Now, I'll share it with you all small. Like I'll be discussing with you all mainly the areas that have been tested so far, because now when you take any past paper, right? Uh, there are so many areas that can come at a time, right? When we say a law, right? Now I hope you all have gone through the vLearning packages. If not, do take them, right? They'll be very much useful, because once you are going through the past papers today, you will realize that most of the answers are actually available, right? In the presentation that I have shared with you all, right? All the answers, necessary questions, answers are always, I have followed a question and answer format method in my presentations. That is to make it easy for you all, because at the exam you'll be remembered, because you have to remember the question all the time. Even if you know all the answers, if you don't know which question to it belongs, it will be in vain, right? So to overcome that, I have always given them in question and answer format. So make sure you go through all the vLearning packages. And anyway, right, so good evening to all of you. So we'll just start with the focus areas, and then one important thing, I'll be discussing a small answer format. uh, I don't know whether you have found this anywhere. I mean, normally you can find this in the law field, but this answer format, we always, it's a standard format, right? It's not my own format. I am not taking credit for that. I'm just telling you what is a general format that you should use, especially when answering legal questions. Okay, it's a very easy method. You will not miss anything. I mean, I'm okay with you following any other method. It's fine. It's your choice. But with the answer format that I'm going to give you, probably in the next hour or so, you will not miss anything, right? So I've categorized everything that you should include in an answer, especially a problem question, so that you will not forget anything in an answer. Okay, that's that. And I'll be talking something about the time management, right? I'm pretty sure you all are aware of it, but I want to recall your memory regarding that, because time management is very essential. Without managing your time, even if you are very good at the studies, if you can't manage your time, it could be in vain if you could not complete all the questions. Because law exam is very easy. It is not that difficult as you think. You may think it's difficult, but it is not. Trust manage. Okay. And afterwards, I'll be discussing some past papers, right? Mainly because I think in mind would help you all to understand the nature of the exam, right? It's always about understanding the nature of the exam in any exam. That way, it will help you to how you should prepare for the exam. Okay, preparation is key. Now you urge all after today, use this as a base. Okay, to use today's session as a base for you to keep your studies up. Okay, not only in my subject, even in other areas. Okay, so use today as a foundation, like a base to start your studies and complete your level. All right. Okay, without any delay, let's quickly start with the focus areas. All right. I hope you all can see what I'm sharing. Okay. If you all have any issues, if you all can't hear me or anything, just let me know in the chat, right? And also you can ask any questions from me. That is fine. You're open to ask questions. If it is a question that might change the flow of the session today, I would suggest you all to write down the question and probably ask it at the end of the session, because I'll be allocating 15 to 20 minutes for your questions as well, right? So probably if you finish earlier, probably more time than that. So you can ask your questions that as well. If it is relevant to what I'm discussing at the time, go ahead and ask. It's fine. Okay, right. Now you need to get an idea of the chapters that will be normally tested. Right now, I'll tell you, like I'll give you some hints. Normally, what is more tested? Okay, but to start off, let's have a slight idea on what is the relevant chapters that are coming into this exam. Okay, right. Now, if you take chapter 1, right, the introduction to law, right, that's chapter 1. Then there's contract law, sale of goods ordinance, law of agency, company law and partnerships go together. That's under one chapter. Normally, if a company law question comes, normally they will not ask partnership, but if partnership comes, they will not ask company law. But in the recent times, they have asked both. Okay, keep that in mind. They've kind of changed it a bit. Negotiable instruments, they have asked for a long time, but sometimes now they are reducing the questions that they're asking from negotiable instruments, and they are moving a lot from asking a lot from labor law. Okay. Insurance, international trade law, offenses related to business environment. Now, these are the chapters, and these are always available in the vLearning as well. All the chapters are covered. Right. Now, when we take chapter 1, okay, now, okay, let's take the paper structure for a while. I believe you all know that there are 3 sections, that is section A, B, and C, right? Section A is on OTQs, that is the objective test question. We call it MCQs, okay? You will only get one question, in the sense there'll be a 1.1 to around 1.15. 25 marks. Please remember that it's 25 marks. The section A is 25 marks. Okay, you need only 50 marks to pass the exam. MCQs or the OTQs are exam. Like, you know, if you are very the MCQs, you can relax that. Even at the exam time, there's a lot of stress, right? So if you can do the OTQs well, right, and you are so confident with the OTQs, you know when you know the answer, right? So if you are very sure of the OTQs, you can be sure of the 25 marks. That will give you the confidence to attempt the rest of the questions as well. Okay, right. Then when it comes to section B, there will be a total of 5 questions. Okay, normally there won't be a huge problem question. Okay, they might give a scenario, but the question they ask will be very direct. For example, they might ask questions like discuss, you know, explain, state, identify. Maybe they'll ask you the prerequisites of a contract, objectives of the Money Laundering Act. Okay, very simple answers, right? There are no paragraphs to write, actually, to be honest, right? The questions are very direct. Problem is you need to know the direct answer as well, right? So if the question answer the question, it's actually nothing to think about. It's just a matter of identifying the question only. If you know the answer, it's just a matter of writing. Now, section C, of course, on the other hand, it only has one question, but there are 2 parts. Okay, part A and part B. Most of the time, actually, they give of the time students I have seen, they kind of get scared for the problem question. Trust me, the problem questions are sometimes very easy. The reason you get scared is because you see a huge lot of case study, a big case study to study or, you know, read through. Now, yes, reading the case study is important, but the question that sometimes they ask is actually from a very small area. And even though you have to write in paragraphs, right, you'll have to write the answer, but that won't be pages. Maximum of half a page, 1 page will be sufficient for you to score the 25 marks. Or at least 15 marks for the part A and the other 10 marks for the part B. Okay, so section C, it's a problem question. Remember that, and I'll tell you like what are the areas that are normally coming for problem question. Don't worry, I'll take you through so that you know you can be ready for the exam, right? Don't worry, you don't have to run everywhere to find out what to study and what not to study. I'll guide you, right? So just trust me and follow on the guidance that I'm giving. Okay. Normally, I have done this through a past paper analysis as well, right? So you can trust me on that, right? So that's why I told you earlier also. Make this as a base, okay? Make this as the foundation for you to start, right? Let's go with the chapter 1. Now, when you get your chapter 1, even if it's a tutor, whatever the notes you have, okay? Whatever the notes you have, right? If you are very interested in learning the law based on, you know, these personal laws, Roman, Dutch law and all, go ahead. Read, study, go ahead, no problem. But if your aim is to pass the exam and there's only 1 month's time, you have another 3 subjects apart from law as well. I wouldn't recommend you to go and, you know, study the whole chapter 1. Okay, that is impractical for the purpose of the exam. If you want to get knowledge, please go ahead and study, no problem. Okay, but if you want to pass the exam, do not waste your time unnecessarily on studying chapter 1, because there won't be any main question from chapter 1. It is only for your knowledge, right? The only questions they will ask from chapter 1 are the MCQs or the OTQs. You will get probably 3 or 4 OTQs, probably 4-mark questions. So don't waste 3 hours, 4 hours studying chapter 1, right? Just for 3 or 4 marks. That is impractical way of studying, right? My recommendation, right? The recommended form of studying for chapter 1 is to what? Just understand the concept, but practice all the past papers, at least from 2015 to 2023. If anyone has a difficulty in finding the past papers, it's online, it's available online. But if you still have a difficulty, please, you can always contact me. I can give you all the necessary passwords online, right? But other than that, it's available online at the AAT website also. Practice the past paper questions for chapter 1, right? I'll also take you some, when we're discussing the past paper session, I'll take you some of the questions. But for your knowledge, just remember, you need to practice a question for chapter 1. Do not go and study. If your aim is to pass the exam, right? Do not waste your time. You don't have much time to waste also, right? It's closer to 30 days, right? It's probably, I think, next month, closer next month, right? So do not waste your time studying too much or memorizing this area, right? So please, chapter 1, trust me, don't go to overstudy, right? If you want to have the knowledge, maybe you can study after the exam. If you want to pass the exam, right, with the limited amount of time, the practical way is to do the past papers only of the MCQs. That is also only the first 4 MCQs. Okay, that's for chapter 1. When it comes to chapter 2, now this is the big boss that you have to overcome. Okay, I say this is the the Goliath that you have to overcome. Okay, contract law. It's one of the definite questions that will come in your paper. Definitely, contract law will come. It has come from 2015 to so far, right? The past papers that are available from AAT, like even before it has come, right? Contract law, it's a definite area, and it has more weightage under your syllabus as well. Okay. Now let's say you are a student who has studied contract law. Very good. Keep going and practice on the past papers and listen to the areas that I'm telling today. Focus on the areas today, and you'll be good to go. But let's say you are a student, who has not yet started studying, right? You are still searching where you are finding for the corner of a thread, right? Then I'm telling you, focus your study on the elements of the contract. What elements? Now there are like 7 elements. Should you study all the 7? Not necessarily. Focus on offer and acceptance mainly. Give more weightage to offer and acceptance. All right. What is offer? What is acceptance? You can always download the vLearning package. We've gone through that, right? So you can for the lesson you can get that. But when you are going to focus on the exam, focus more on, give more weightage to offer and acceptance, right? Apart from that, focus on the capacity of the parties, the intention part, right? And also genuineness of the consent. Now, normally, these 4 areas are the tested areas, right? When I say the elements of the contract, focus on these areas, not all the elements, okay? And apart from that, you might get direct questions or like a sub question, like maybe for 3 marks, 4 marks, to write the remedies for the breach of a contract, right? For example, specific performance, termination of the contract, claiming of damages, right? So those things. Then the terms of the contract. For example, there are terms, condition and warranties. There are 2 terms, condition and warranties. Those are the only 2 terms, right? So just know what is a condition, what is a warranty. Okay, condition is, if you breach a condition, what happens? You can terminate the agreement as well as obtain damages. But if you breach a warranty, you can only claim damages, right? So like that, just have a general idea of the terms of the contract. And exemption clauses, right? Exemption clause means exempting the liability of one party. Okay, a clause to exempt liability of a party. Okay, so just have an idea about these 4 for, I would say, a few markers, like 4 markers, 5 markers or something. But for the big question, the problem question, focus on the elements. Now, how are you going to study contract law? First thing is you have to read the case law. Okay, if you can't read any other subject, the tudes or the presentations, fine, at least read the case laws, because the question is mainly based on a case law. There's no other way they can ask. Like even though the same case law might not come, but the question, okay, the question that will be asking is based on a case law. Now that is where you get your edge. If you have read the case laws, what will happen? At the exam, you will remember, okay, this case law was similar to this. That means the answer is regarding offer. That means the answer is regarding acceptance, right? So read the case laws. Even if you can't study anything else, okay, fine. At least what I'm saying is read the case laws under each of the elements. Under offer, there are some case laws. Under acceptance, there are a few case laws. Capacity, there are only few, like maybe 2 or 3, not all. The major ones, okay? So read the case law. That is where you start studying for contract law, okay? And then what should you do? After you study, okay, I have read the case law. Is that enough? Not really. Now, reading the case laws and, just going through, maybe it might help you to get through the exam, but don't stop there, right? You must never stop. You have to complete it. You have to go for A, right? That is where your target should be, okay? So that is why you should practice answering the questions. Now, I'll give you the format in the next half an hour or so. For now, remember, you have to practice answering according to the format. Right? I'll give you the format. Now, once you start reading the case laws, see a question, past paper question, right? Then try to see whether you can understand what have they asked. Is the question regarding offer? Is the question regarding acceptance? Is it regarding something else? If you can identify the question, it's only a matter of time to start writing the answer to the question. Okay. In the exam, what is needed is identifying of the question. Normally, your brain will naturally help you to bring the answers at the time. You have to believe in that also, right? So if you have studied, your answers will come. But the question is whether you can identify. And that is why you have to read the case laws as well as check the past papers. What is the reason? So that you will be able to quickly identify the question. That will help in time management as well. All right. Right. Then, yeah, if you are going to memorize, only memorize the necessary case laws, right? There are only 2 or 3 case laws under each of the elements, right? Under the presentation and all, I have highlighted some case laws. Go through them, that is more than enough, right? When I say case laws, there are no hundreds of cases, okay? Only maximum 2 or 3 case laws under each element. For the whole contract law, you might have like 3 or 4, probably 5 case laws, right? So the more you read the case law, the more you remember also. Okay, so just keep that in mind. That's the recommended form of studying for the contract law part. Okay, what should you do? Focus your study on elements of a contract. These elements, see the remedies for breach of contract, terms of a contract, exemption clauses, read the case laws, and try to identify the questions in the past papers and practice answering using the format that I will give you. Okay, right. Let's go to sale of goods ordinance. Right. Now, this is another definite area. Okay, apart from contract law, sale of goods ordinance is a definite area. The only problem is sometimes they will give you 2 parts, sometimes they will give you only 1 problem question, right? Normally they will ask direct questions also, but most of the time they have asked for a problem question. Okay. Now these problem questions are again based on case laws only, right? I think I have discussed and I have gone through each section 13, 14, 15, 16. Under each section there is a case law. 1 or 2 case laws, okay, relevant case laws. Under section 13, a few case laws. Under section 14, or for example, under section 15, 15.1, right? 15.1 is talking about the fit for purpose. Now, under section 15, there are a few famous case laws like Grant versus Australian Knitting Mills, Priest versus Last, right? So, if you can remember a few case laws like that and what happened in that, when they give the scenario, you will remember, okay, under section 15 only there was a similar case law. That means this question is under section 15. That is why you should read your case law. Okay. So remember, if you can't study the sections, first study the case, first read the case law. Not study, I would use the word read, okay? Not to study, just to read the case law and see that under which section is that case law coming under. Make a short note of your own. Okay, section 13, these 2 cases. Section 14, these ones. 15, this case law. 16, this case law, right? And when it comes to section 19, it's about how the ownership is transferred. I would recommend you, now you don't have to go through all 19, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. Mainly they have asked the question from, section 19.5, okay? Section 19.5 has been tested many times. Apart from that, they have kind of asked 1 or 2 questions from 19.4, okay? Really, but 19.5 is the main question, okay? And the famous case law is Pignataro versus Gilroy. that is the case. So that's like the question they have always asked. Apart from that, they have always asked from section 13 and 14 and 15. Okay, so prepare mainly for these sections. Okay, go through these sections well. Apart from that, focus on 19.4 and 19.5. Okay, that is your focus area for sale of goods ordinance definite question. Okay, for this, of course, there is no shortcut. You will have to memorize the sections and case laws, right? Unfortunately, I have to tell the truth. There's no shortcut for this part, right? You will have to read the case laws, memorize the sections, right, and case laws. If anyone is having difficulty for memorizing the case laws and the sections, I'll tell you one method, right? You can I can't teach you the method right now, but you can refer it. There's so much of knowledge available online. You can check the Lossy method. Okay, or there's a funny way to remember the case laws. That is, if you are calling your best friend all the time, right? You will be chatting on the WhatsApp and social media, right? So change your best friend's name to one of the case laws, right? At least that way you will remember the case laws. Okay, so that's like a funny way to remember, but it is a very good way to remember. Okay, a practical method to remember, right? Otherwise, other than that, you can paste it somewhere where you always go. If not, you can focus on you can change some of the numbers in your phone contact to few case laws, right? So you see it every day. So by the time the exam comes, it will be in your mind. Okay, right. And also, yeah, practicing past paper questions is kind of mandatory for sale of goods ordinance and contract law. Don't worry, I think I'll take you through the past papers. I'll discuss all the past. I'm planning to discuss most of the past papers from 2023 to backwards. That is my plan today, right? So that you can ask questions if you have any questions. Okay, right. Okay, let's move on to law of agency. Now, when it comes to agency, focus on the creation of an agency. For example, how an agency by necessity is created, how agency by ratification is created, and how agency by estoppel is created. Mainly necessity, ratification, and estoppel, right? These three have come, right? Apart from that, rights and duties of agents, very easy, right? It's one of the easiest questions. It's most of them, they have asked a direct question. You can score 10 marks very easily, right? Rights and duties are nothing. Just it's actually, I would say it's too easy, right? It's not even your level, to be honest. It's a very it should be advanced, but they're asking very easy questions, right? So make use of it. Okay, make use of it. Now you might get tough questions on contract law, sale of goods, but law of agency, it's pretty easy, right? Focus on the rights and duties. Sometimes you can definitely might get at least 8-mark questions or 5-mark questions to write the duties of the agent, right? Just to write the duties. What are the duties of the agents normally? The agent has a duty to be truthful to the principal. The agent must not have any secret profits. The agent must always tell the truth to the principal. The agent must not be in conflict, must not have a conflict of interest with the principal. Right? It's whatever I have discussed with the duties of agents, please go through that more than enough. Okay. And termination of agency. There are only a few ways to terminate an agency. If the principal is dead, if the agent is dead, right? If there is a if the purpose of the principal agent was for a purpose and the purpose has ended, if it was a time period and the time period has ended. Okay, so there are like, at least remember five ways of terminating an agency. Okay, they will not ask to explain, don't worry, just to state, just to write down. Okay, 3 marks, 4 marks sometimes, right? So very easy to score this area. Do not leave this area. Law of agency, one of the easiest areas. Okay, direct questions most of the time, so focus on that. Use your own words, okay? Because there's nothing, there are no case laws. Actually, in law of agency, you don't have to write case laws, right? There are no sections to write also, no sections at all. The law of agency is made by case laws, but they won't expect you to write case laws, right? Because they are mainly focusing on the rights and duties, right? And the creation of an agency, how the agency is created, right? So do not leave this area. Make sure you study this very well. You can score all the marks from law of agency. If it's a 10-mark questions, lucky you, right? 10 marks, then and there, sure shot, right? The best way is I would recommend you to practice some past paper questions. Okay, when I'm discussing the past paper questions, you will realize that some questions are repeated. Okay, most of the questions are repeated again and again and again, right? Right. Company law and partnerships. Now, company law, of course, students, they have really, not really, they have asked questions, but they have not asked very tough questions. They have asked very easy questions. Only you have to know about the legal person. What is a legal personality of a company? Sometimes 5 marks. Just to write what is a legal personality. What is a legal personality? What it means is, when you incorporate a company under the Companies Act number 7 of 2007, each corporation that is incorporated under that gets a new personality, gets a new legal personality. That means whatever a natural person, now we are natural persons, whatever natural person can do, even the legal personality, that is called the artificial personality, that is bestowed on the company by the law, they also can do whatever we can do. If I can take a loan, they also can take a loan. I can go to courts. The company also can go to courts. Why? Because of the legal personality. And also it does what mainly? It limits the liability of the company. And because of the limited liability, right? There are two types of companies also. Just go through the types of companies. Because of the limited liability of the company is separate from its owners. That's like one of the main points that you are right. We call it the divorce of ownership or the separation of ownership and control. Right? That means the owners, although the shareholders are the owners, the control is with the directors. The directors' duties are with the company. Okay. So under company law, I would ask you to focus on legal personality of a company and the termination of a company. Apart from that, you can focus a little bit on how a director is qualified, like what are the qualifications to be a director and what are the duties of the director. Just go through that as well. Because if they do ask a question, it will be a very direct question asking you to discuss the duties of the director, right? Or the qualifications to be a director or the legal personality of the company. Okay, so these are like what they can ask from company law. But partnership, now, partnership do not leave. Again, the only thing that they can ask from partnership is, it can be a problem question, but still the scenario can be a problem scenario, but the question is always direct. Okay, the question, that the answer that you have to write is very direct. It can be a case study, but the question that they have asked you is very direct. For example, they'll ask, what are the responsibilities of a partner? The most of the questions, okay, have come from the duties of the partners. For example, a partner has a duty not to have secret profit. The partner cannot maintain comparative businesses to that of the partnership. The partner has to be truthful about the transaction. The partner should reveal all the information that might conflict the partnership. Okay, mainly from secret profit and comparative businesses. Those are the two duties that they have breached. Or most of the questions are from that. Okay, so don't leave. If you're studying, focus a little bit on the duties of the partners, right? And termination of partnership. There are only two ways to terminate a partnership, that is by the court or by voluntary termination by the partners themselves. Okay. Just remember the rights and the responsibilities. Partners have to share the profits equally, right? And in the past papers, they will always tell, most of the, like so far, they have never told that partners have partnership agreement. Right? Partners can have partnership agreement, but I mean is in the exam, they won't ask about a partnership agreement. Okay. They will simply tell partners don't have a partnership agreement. Then you should immediately know that the partners have to share the profits equally, right? And they have the section 24 and the partnership ordinance of partnership ordinance is applicable automatically. All right. Okay. Let's go to chapter 6. Chapter 6, students, I would tell you to focus on the checks, right? Types of checks, crossing of a check, and how bank can refuse payment. When it comes to bills of exchange, okay, focus only on the holder in due course, right? Don't waste too much time because you have a lot to study. You might not get a full question from this. They have reduced asking full questions from negotiable instruments. They'll ask maybe a 5-mark question, maybe as a part question. Okay, so focus only on the checks part and the characteristics of a holder in due course. They have asked this question many times. Okay, and how banks can limit liability. If you do have time, focus on how banks can limit liability. Okay, that is under sections 80, 82, 84. All right. Don't worry too much about this, but I would say to focus more on the checks part. Okay. Right. Let's go to labor law. Now, in the recent time, since 2020, they have kind of increased the questions from labor law, right? That means they have asked mainly from the Shop and Office Act. Okay. More questions from this act actually. Termination of employment of workmen. It's a very easy act. Nothing much to write, right? It's just a matter of identifying whether you are under this act or not. Okay. Now, if you take go through the vLearning, you might find out we have discussed all these acts, right? You have to identify whether work is falling under this act or not. From there on, just a matter of identifying whether that worker is entitled to be terminated or not, right? So they just want you to see whether you can identify which act they are asking. Okay. EPF, ETF, and gratuity, just see who it is applicable to and to whom it is not applicable. That part is important, right? Sometimes they might ask for few like 5-mark questions, or they might give MCQ even, right? Sometimes they have asked MCQs or OTQs regarding they'll give 4 people or 4 corporations, right? And ask whether they are entitled to EPF. Who is entitled to EPF from the following categories? So to answer such questions, you need to go through and understand to whom the act is applicable, the EPF, EDF, and the gratuity. Okay. This part is important. Test to identify whether a person is an employee or an independent contractor. What are the tests normally? Normally, we do the control test, equipment test. We have the mixed test, integration test, right? Now, these tests are important to see whether a person is an employee or an independent contractor. Please check that as well. Right. Conflict resolution methods, just go through arbitration and mediation. Okay, that's more than enough, right? And labor, sorry, mainly labor tribunal. Yeah, labor tribunal, arbitration and mediation. Okay, focus a bit more labor tribunal. Okay, you don't have to focus on the other methods, right? They are not necessary for you, right? Okay, insurance, right? Now the best part of this chapter 8 is that from 2016 to 2023. Okay, the past papers. Okay, that means January and July included. Okay, there has always been an insurance question, always, like from 2016 to 2023, Jan and July, both months, both series. Okay, they have always been an insurance question, except for 2022 Jan, if I'm correct. Apart from that, there has always been an insurance question. But for the first time, okay, in 2023 January, they have asked a question from hire purchase. That also about what? Only the rights and obligations. See? Rights and obligations of the owner and the hirer. Now, because they have asked this time, we can't expect they'll ask it again, right? But if you do have time, just go through it. Just do the past paper, just the recent past paper, 2023 January. The first question is on hire purchase. Okay, if you can just write the answer for that, more than enough. That will cover the whole syllabus under hire purchase. Actually, that question covers the whole syllabus under hire purchase. For insurance, now in the presentation that I have shared, or rather, I hope you all have gone through the vLearning presentation for insurance. In that, you will find out all the answers that you need. You don't have to look anywhere else. The answers that you need for all the questions from 2016 to 2023, okay, hire purchase included, you don't have to go anywhere, right? You can just check the presentation. In fact, even for all the other chapters, you can just check the presentations. All the answers are there, right? But for insurance specifically, the case laws, okay, that's what I meant. Okay, the case laws, it's already there, right? Whatever the question that comes under insurance, it is definitely 100% coming from a case law. So if you go through the case laws that I have discussed in insurance, okay, just read the case laws, more than enough. If you read the case law and if you read the question, you will realize that it is the same thing. It's just a matter of writing the case law and telling whether the person is entitled to insurance or not. Okay, so please be prepared for that. All right, so insurance, make sure you go through the case laws in the presentation along with the past papers. Okay, do not ignore the past papers. I want you to practice. Okay, I know I will also try to discuss today the past paper, and I can in fact show you, right? I can show you with the presentation and the past papers, side by side, that how the question is relevant. What is the answer? Relevant answer is how it is available to you in the presentation. Okay, so from 2016-23, definitely questions have come, so we can expect another insurance question. They have not asked from leasing. Leasing, the only thing that they can ask is the benefits of leasing to lessor and lessee. Again, that's available in my presentation. Right, just point form. Okay, nothing much, nothing to explain. Just point form. All right. Insurance, of course, you might have to explain, I'll tell you like how to answer the question for insurance question. But principles of insurance, don't study anything else. Just go through the principles of insurance more than enough. Like utmost good faith important and insurable interest. Okay, these are the most of the tested questions. Under utmost good faith, there are four main case laws. Right, those 4 case laws have definitely come. Like I'm not all the 4 case laws. Like one of the case laws have come in the form of a question. And if you know the 4 case laws, not a big deal to answer in insurance. Definitely 10 marks. Right, because once you identify the question, just write in the case law and explaining is more than enough. You'll get the 10 marks, right? Because there's no other way they can reduce the marks. Okay, right. Chapter 9, International Trade Law. You might not get a big question from this, okay? Because you might get a direct question, but not a problem question, not at all. Okay. Even if it's a direct question, it might not be for 10 marks, right? It can be for 5 marks or 4 marks. They might, or even actually true or false question and MCQs, true or false questions. Okay, so those ones. So you can focus on the what is FOB, CIF, then the duties and the duties of both FOB and CIF, seller and buyer, right? The bill of lading. Bill of lading, and it's important. Now this part is important. They've asked this bill of lading. For example, it acts as a contract of affreightment. It acts as a receipt for shipped goods. It proves ownership of the goods. Those 3 actually, right? If you know those 3, just write in those 3 is more than enough. You can score 3 to 4 marks, right? Letter of credit is very important. Go through what is a letter of credit. They might not ask it this time, like around what is letter of credit and all, but just see what is the process of the letter of credit. If you do have time, focus, but mainly focus on FOB and CIF. That's what they will actually ask. Okay, right. And how banks can limit liability under international trade law. Again, it's relevant to the negotiable instruments part. The same thing, because if the seller is paying through a check and so it's a different scenario, but you don't have to study this. Don't need to study this. Right? Focus more on FOB and CIF, and especially the duties. Okay, duties of both seller and buyer under the 2 agreements. Right. Chapter 10. Do not study the presentation for chapter 10, because only you have to do is the past papers. Take the presentation as your answering guide. Okay, don't go to memorize the whole presentation. It will take too much time. It's impractical. Right. For chapter 10 is a definite question. It will come. Okay, remember contract law, sale of goods ordinance, and chapter 10. Right. These 3 anyway definitely. Law of agency, partnerships, and chapter 10. These 5 to 6 questions are definite questions, no doubt. Only thing is, chapter 10, we can't really say what from which act they'll ask the question. So my advice is just practice the past papers. Do not study this. Why am I saying not to study it? Because same question is coming again and again. Okay. Either if it's from the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, same question. Even if it is from the Consumer Affairs Authority Act, same questions. Right? When I say same question, same act. If it's the same act, same question. Intellectual Property Act, again the same question, it's repeated. Even if it's a problem question, the same question is repeated again. Computer Crimes Act, they will ask about what is the purpose of the Computer Crimes Act and what are the offenses under the Computer Crimes Act. That's all they can ask. If they ask, just write it. Reporting of Financial Transactions Act. What is the purpose of the Reporting of Financial Transactions Act? And what are the duties of the FIU, the Financial Intelligence Unit? Now, all these things are available in the presentations. Do not go and go anywhere, right? Just check the presentation that you can find in the vLearning under chapter 10. More than enough. That covers the whole syllabus. Okay, under chapter 10, you don't have to check anywhere, right? So just trust me and do only the past papers from 2016 to 2023. Okay, use the presentation as the answering guide, right? Take the past paper, see what is the question, then go to my presentation. Okay, go to the questions, because I have given you in question format, isn't it? Question format, then the answer, question, answer. That is the format that I used in the presentation. The only thing is, I think it's under the Consumer Affairs Authority Act. The duties of the traders and the offenses of the traders are the same thing. Only the word is different. You have to change and write. That's the only difference. But other than that, it's like the same thing. Okay, right. Okay, these are like the areas that normally comes. Okay, these all the 10 areas actually they will ask even in the MCQ. Somehow they will ask all the 10 areas. You can't leave out anything, but focus more on these areas. Okay, I'm gonna pick some areas. You can chapter 2, 3, this partnerships, label of insurance. Okay, so going to study. Do not leave these areas and definitely chapter 10. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You cannot leave these areas. Okay, they will always come. Okay, you do not leave these areas. Okay, when I say chapter 8, mainly insurance. Okay, so contract law, sale of goods, law of agency, partnership, labor law, insurance, and of chapter 10. Do not leave at all. Right, definite questions. Right. Definite questions. Chapter 10, if you follow my presentation and the past papers, you can score the full marks for that. I'm guaranteeing it to you. I'm guaranteeing that, right? You can even ask from, if there are physical students, you can even ask from them, right? I might have discussed with them, right? Definitely you can score, right? So I'm guaranteeing it. I'm guaranteeing it to you, okay? So go through my presentation and take the past papers and go through that, right? You can score the 10 marks for chapter 10. So that is done for you. Okay. Actually, the only thing that you have to study is this contract law and sale of goods ordinance. Other things you can just go through the past papers. All right. Okay. Do you have any questions so far? Because I'm going to go to the answering format now, like how to answer a question. Any questions so far? On areas to focus more on? Any other questions? Okay. And then if you do have, you can just drop a message later on. I'll check later on. Okay. Probably after this. Right. Now let's go to the answering format. Okay. Okay. I hope you can see this. Now this one is this is mainly for the problem questions, but you can use this for answering any question actually. Now this is the format. Okay. Don't worry. I have now given at the below. I'm discussing a small question with you on how to process it as well. Okay. Always remember ILAC. Right. Always remember ILAC. That is, I stands for introduction. When you start a question, always give introduction. Right. That is like the first paragraph that you should write, the introduction. Then you should go for the law. Just simply state the law. Then the application, and then finally the conclusion. So this way, you will not miss out on anything. Now, should you definitely follow this method? No, it's not like that. This is only my recommendation so that you won't leave out anything. Otherwise, what will happen is, it is natural. No? You will sometimes stress out in the exams, right? When you're writing fast also. What you'll do is you'll write the same thing again and again. You might start with the application and you'll write the law again, and you'll write the conclusion in the middle, and again you might go to the law again. Right? You might go up and down. Okay, to avoid that, simply follow one method. If there is a method that you are currently following and it has worked for you, no problem, you can go for that. But my recommendation is, right, you try this method out. Now, please understand, do not go and try this method in the exam first of all, okay? Right? Don't go and try this method in the first time in the exam, okay? I want you to try this method before you go to the exam, okay? Don't go and try this method in the exam the first time, right? Then you will mix these up, right? Where did introduction go? Where is supposed to am I put the law, right? So I like method, right? Before you go to the exam, just practice at least 4 or 5 times. Sit down, take a paper, just practice some past papers using this format. I told you to practice past papers earlier when we were discussing the focus areas. Practice using this method. This is the format. Okay, ILAC, introduction, the law, application, and the conclusion. Right. Now let's see what should we include in the introduction. Right. Now these are the things that you should include in the introduction. The definitions. Okay, now let's take the question is about contract law. Okay, you can tell, okay, a contract is a legally binding agreement between 2 or more people. Okay. Or contract of sale of goods is a contract whereby the seller agrees to transfer the property of the goods to the buyer for a money consideration called the price. So a small definition, more than enough, right? It can be a very small paragraph actually. Small paragraph, right? Nothing much. Right? If there is no, let's say you can't remember a definition, you don't have to remember the exact definition. If you can remember, very good. If you don't, it's fine. Write in your own words. As long as there are keywords like binding agreement, 2 or more people, okay, more than enough, right? You won't get many marks for the introduction. You won't get marks for an introduction, but that will help you to kickstart the answer. Okay, that is where we kickstart the answer, right? When you have introduction in hand, when you get a start, the others should follow. Okay, that is the reason we write introduction. And even the examiner will realize that you identified the area. That is the other reason. Even the examiner is marking, he'll realize, okay, you have identified the area, right? That is the relevance of an introduction. Okay. Right. After the introduction, what should you do? Go straight to the law. Now, how can you state the law? Use sections to tell the law, right? Or case laws, or tell the law in general. Now, see the example that I have given. How can you use sections? As per section 14 of the sale, now after the introduction, state the law simply. As per section 14 of the sale of goods ordinance, goods sold by description shall correspond or match to the description. Or as per section 16 of the sale of goods ordinance, goods sold by sample shall match with the sample. Now that is the law, right? Under sale of goods ordinance, section 13, 14, 15, 16. So if you tell the section and then you write, right? Under the partnership ordinance, according to section 24, partners are required to share profits equally. So like that, you just simply tell the law, right? If it is about a section, tell the section, write the case law. If there is no section, then use the case law. As per Adams's link say, if the parties have agreed expressly or impliedly to communicate the acceptance of an offer by post, then the moment the letter of acceptance was posted, acceptance is deemed to have been completed. Now, this is the judgment that I wrote. When you are writing case law, students, don't write the whole story. Just write the judgment only. Judgment means the hell part. You have to write anything else. Okay, so when it comes to telling the law, all you have to do is, if there's a section for you to tell, write the section. If there's no section, if there is a case law, write the case law. If there is nothing, like there's no section, there's no case law, like FOB and all, only the law is there. As per the FOB agreement under the international trade law, the moment the goods are loaded into the ship, the ownership is transferred from the seller to the buyer or the importer. Now that is the law. Okay, it's very easy as that. Okay, you give introduction to tell the law. Thereafter, this is the important part, application and the analysis, I would say. Okay, when you're writing the application, normally the analysis is anyway done. Don't think about the word analysis too much, because if you go to think about it, you will not know how to apply, right? So forget the word analysis for a while and just think only about application. Right? How to apply? Application means applying the above discussed law. This law, what you told, you are going to mix it with the case facts. Now they have given a case fact, they have given a problem scenario, right? Now you are going to you have stated the introduction, you have stated the law. Now what are you going to do? You are going to use that law and apply that law to the given scenario. Now see the example. In applying the above discussed law to the given scenario, when Mr. A posted the letter on 12th February, and even if it was delayed due to a strike, Mr. A legally accepted the offer of Mr. B because of the postal rule established by law. Now what I did was simply, now this was the law, Adams link says, this law I applied to a scenario. Okay, that is called application, right? I'll give you a question. So I'll do a sample question with you on how to apply this. Okay, right. In conclusion, what you do is you simply answer the question. Remember that you have to always answer the question. Sometimes they ask, is there a valid agreement between Mr. A and Mr. B? Then you have to tell, after discussing after the application, you have to tell based on the above, yes. In conclusion, yes, there is a valid agreement. Yes, there is a breach of contract. Yes, there is a breach of warranty. Or there is no breach of warranty. Or there is no valid agreement. Based on the scenario, based on the application, based on the law that you discuss, you have to tell yes or no to the question they have asked. Right? Sometimes they might ask whether the, for example, whether there is a law, whether the partners have breached the partnership, any partnership duty. Then you have to tell yes, based on the above scenario, yes, partners have, the partner X, right? partners X and Y can claim their share of the profits from the secret profits of partner Z. Or therefore, ABC company can claim damages and terminate the agreement because the goods are not according to the sample. Right? You have to tell the remedy sometimes. In the conclusion, you have to answer the question or tell the remedy. Okay? So remember now, ILAC, okay? Introduction, then you tell the law, then you apply the law, and finally the conclusion. This is how you should answer your question. This way you won't leave out anything. You are including everything. Is there introduction? Yes. Is the law included? Yes. The sections are there, the case laws are there, the general law is there. Right? Have you applied the law to the given scenario? Yes, that's also there. Have you answered the question that the question specifically asked, whether there's valid contract or not? Yes. In the conclusion, we do that. Okay. So ILAC method, ILAC. Okay. Don't forget this. Okay. Introduction, law, application, and the conclusion. Right. Now let's go through a question, a sample question to apply this scenario. Okay. I want you to try this on your own. Right. I'm going to give you a question, a sample question. Okay. I hope you can see this, right? Now I want you to read this and try to, see how you can apply the ILAC method. Okay, now let's read this. Mr. B offered Mr. A his car for 8 million. So now this question is about a contract. Okay, Mr. B offered Mr. A his car for 8 million. Mr. B informed Mr. A to send his acceptance letter by post. So they have agreed that acceptance is by post. He posted the letter of acceptance on 12th February. Now, he means in here, Mr. A posted the letter on 12th February. However, due to a strike in the postal department, the letter was delivered to Mr. B on 20th of February. So, even though Mr. A posted the letter on 12th February, what happened? It was delivered on the 20th of February. Now, what did Mr. B think? He thought that Mr. A has no interest, right, in the offer. So, what did he do? He sold his car to someone called Mr. C on 15th of February. Now later on, right now, on 20th February, he received Mr. A received the the acceptance. But now Mr. A is saying, now look here, Mr. A says there's a valid agreement. But Mr. B is denying. He's saying, no, look here, I didn't receive any acceptance letter. I received it on the 20th. By that time, I have already sold my car. Now they are asking you to discuss whether there is a valid agreement. Now, how can we answer this question? First of all, what is the method? ILAC method. What do you do first? Introduction. Can you see this part? See whether this resembles an introduction. A contract is a legally binding agreement between two or more parties that is enforceable by law. A contract can be made orally, in writing, or by implication. However, it will only be valid if all the elements of acceptance, consideration, capacity of the parties, intention, legality, and genuineness of consent exist. The relevant element in question in the given scenario is acceptance. Now this is the introduction. Okay, this is the introduction that you have to understand, right? I have discussed what is a contract law, and I have told how a contract can be made. What are the elements that is required for a contract to exist, and also what is the relevant element in the question. Right? I have identified the relevant element in the question. This is the introduction. This is a very, I would say, a full introduction. Just simply one paragraph. Okay. Right. After the introduction, what should you do? You have to write the law. You have to state the law. Let's see how to state the law now. Now here, from here, okay. Separate. See how I have stated the law. Acceptance means the unconditional agreement when offered. For acceptance to be valid, it must be communicated. It must be communicated officially, and silence does not amount to acceptance. When communicating acceptance, if the parties have agreed expressly or impliedly that it must be communicated by post, then the postal rule shall apply. According to Adams v. Lindsay, if the parties have agreed expressly or impliedly to communicate the acceptance of an offer by post, then the moment the letter of acceptance was posted, acceptance is deemed to have been completed. Right. So now this part is actually the law. This is the law that is relevant to the question. Okay. Now I have stated the law. Right? Is there any sections to tell? No, there are no sections today. Is there a case law? Yes, there was a case law, and I told if you have any other case law, you can write that. There are many case laws that are applicable. I just put one of the principal case laws. Okay, there can be other case laws, no problem. Okay. Now I have applied. I have stated the case law as well. Now I have done the introduction. I have done the law. I have stated the law. Then what should I do? I lack. Okay, according to our method. Now I have to do the application part. I did the introduction. I stated the law. This is the law that is covered in the red square. Then I have to do the application. Now let's see what is the application here. Can you see this part? In applying, see I have written it in the answer itself. In applying the above law, that means the law that I discussed earlier. In applying the above law to the given scenario, it can be seen that Mr. A and Mr. B expressly agreed to communicate the acceptance by post. In the question, if you read the question, I'll just go back to the question here. Send this acceptance letter by post. So they have agreed. They have agreed to communicate by post the acceptance. So I have actually written the question again. Okay. In applying means we are writing the question with the law. Right. So in applying the above law to the given scenario, it can be seen that Mr. A and B expressly agreed to communicate the acceptance by post. Therefore, the postal rule is applicable. Right. So when Mr. A posted the letter on the 12th of February, on that day itself, he accepted the offer of Mr. B, even though the letter was received by Mr. B on 20th of February. Right. There's a law called postal rule on the acceptance. I believe you all know that by now. Right. So according to the postal rule, the moment you put a letter into the post box, what happens? Acceptance is deemed to be valid. That is what I actually told you. That is what Adams versus Lindsay case tells. And that law I applied to the given scenario. That is called application. Right? So you tell an introduction, then you tell the law, and then you apply that law to the given scenario. Simply apply. Okay. And then finally the conclusion. What can we write to the conclusion? In conclusion, due to the application of the above discussed postal rule in acceptance, there is a valid contract. See, now I agreed. Right now, the question says to discuss whether there is a valid contract. Now I accepted. Yes, there is a valid contract. Between whom? Mr. A and Mr. B. Therefore, contract between Mr. B and Mr. C is null and void. So the contract that Mr. B had with Mr. C, that is no longer valid. That cannot be valid, right? Mr. A had accepted before Mr. C. He did on 12th February. Okay. So the real contract is between Mr. A and Mr. B. So in conclusion, you have to tell whether there's a contract or not. Right? Whether there is a duty breached or not. Whether you can get a remedy or not. Right? And that is in the conclusion that you will tell. What if okay, there's a question relevant to this, so I'll answer that also. Yeah. What if the contract between B and C had been done before B and A? Now that's a good question. Okay, very good question raised. Right. Now it's like this. Now if you take the dates, A and B, sorry, Mr. A accepted the offer on the 12th of February, right? By putting the letter of acceptance. But let's say Mr. C accepted this instead of 15. I'll just put, let's say, 10th of Feb. Right. Sorry. Let's assume it's on the 10th of February. Then, of course, who accepted first? Even if he put the letter on the 12th February, there's a previous acceptance. That is between Mr. A and C. Sorry, Mr. B and C. Then, of course, the valid contract is between Mr. B and C. Okay, why? Before Mr. A accepted the letter by putting it to the post, Mr. C accepted on 10th of February. Then no problem. Then whoever accepted first. Okay. But remember, in the postal rule, the moment you put the letter, the date is important. The moment you put the letter into the post box, what happens? That is the date of acceptance, not when it is received. Okay. Is there a way to overcome postal rule? Yes, there is. Only thing is the offerer, that means the one who is making the offer, has to tell to the offeree or the acceptor, look, don't put your letter to the post. I should receive the letter. It is only if I receive the letter that I will consider it as acceptance. If the offerer has told like that, then putting the letter into the post box is not enough. It has to reach him. Okay, it has to be delivered, right? Delivered to the address of the offerer. Then, of course, postal rule is not applicable. Okay, then postal rule is not applicable. Just remember that. Okay, right. Okay, I'll move on. Okay, so right. So that is actually the answering format. That's how you answer a question, right? Any questions, like any clarifications? Clarify now itself. It will be easy for you, right? Any clarification on answering them apart from the question itself? No, right? I hope it's clear. Okay, if you do have any issues, please do ask. Okay, don't keep it to yourself. You can unmute and speak. You can also send me a message. Okay, no harm done. So right, make use of the free session, right? So make use of it. Okay, so if you have any issues, any clarifications on how to answer, you can ask now, right? So I'm just gonna go through it again. Remember, introduction, the law, application, conclusion. Do not forget this, right? I think I can send you these as well. No, I'll inform the team also, maybe to yes. Now there's a question whether you can skip the introduction part. As I said earlier, no problem. You can skip the introduction part, not a problem. If you can't, introduction is actually to help you identify the area, because some students they find it difficult to start with the law. They can't get that start to write the answer. Everyone is not the same, so that is why I put the introduction part, so that you can start, like babies. We call it baby steps. Okay, so you can keep one step by step. So you keep the introduction and then you remember the law like that. But if you are sure with the area, if you are sure with the law, no issue. Go with the law, no problem. Okay, you can skip the introduction part, no problem. Okay, go to the law, application, conclusion. Right? For those who find it difficult to start with the law, if you are confused, start with the introduction, and then because some people need a stage to start, step to start. Okay, that is why I put the introduction. But yeah, so thank you. Yeah, so you don't have to necessarily start with the introduction. If you are sure with the law, go ahead. Law, application, conclusion, no problem. Right? For others, those who find it difficult, start with the introduction and go ahead. Okay. Okay. So there's another question: how the postal rule is not applicable? Very easy. The offerer. Now let's say I'm making an offer to you, right? I'm telling you, look here, you have to accept my offer by sending me a letter. But I should receive the letter to my hand, not to the post. So let's say you put the letter of acceptance on the 12th of February, okay? But it received to me on 20th of February. But what have I told you? I want to receive the letter. You putting the letter into the post box is not enough. I have to receive the letter. If I have specifically told that I should receive the letter to my hand, okay, if I should receive the letter to my hand, then the postal rule is not applicable. Or in other words, I'm telling, look here, postal rule is not applicable. If I specifically tell postal rule is not applicable, the letter should come into my hand, then postal rule is not applicable. That is a very simple way of evading the postal rule. Otherwise, what will happen is normally, the date you put a letter of acceptance to the post, that is accepted. That date is considered as the acceptance date. If you want to overcome it, actually nowadays, or if you see any job advertisement, anything, they will always tell your application should be received to a registered address. That means what? They are indirectly telling you putting it to the post is not enough. We should receive it. Okay. So the best way to receive it is registered posts. They will get the signature. So then that will be that is the way to overcome postal rule. Okay. Now remember, these laws are very old laws. Okay. Those days we didn't have technology. Right. Nowadays, email acceptance, WhatsApp acceptance is also recognized. All right. Those days they used letters. That is why there was something, because because of these transactions and all, someone might have put the letter early, but then delayed. It's a loss for him. So to overcome that only, the judges developed a law called postal rule. The moment you put the letter into the post, acceptance is to be deemed to be accepted, right? Nowadays, of course, very rarely you use post, right? I mean, it's mainly emails, right? So if you take an email should, the moment you send the email and it is received by the other person, if it is not delivered back to you, it is received to the other person. Okay, so that's how it is applicable now. Okay, so there's another question. Yes, I have. Yes, no problem. Okay, you can write. Okay, so yes, he has asked about way of answering. Yes, you can write like that also. Okay, so now don't forget elements of the contract. Okay, I mean elements of the contract. Do not forget in the sense you study and go. Okay, don't leave them out. Okay, you need to know the elements of a contract. In case if you forget, but if you remember parts of it, still write whatever you know at the exam. Don't leave out any question if you do thinking you don't know. Okay, so just that's why I'm telling you. When you study, only will forget. If you practice, you will remember. Not you, your body will remember. Your hand and coordinate. We call it the hand-eye coordination. Okay, the connection, right? There's a neural pathway that connects your writing skills with your brain. That's why practice makes perfect. That's the saying. Practice makes perfect. No? Not studying makes perfect. No, so professional. This is a professional exam, right? So in the area of a professional exam, right? Not like your academic. Like, there's nothing to read for you. Practice the past paper questions and focus and write. Okay, right. Before that, let's go to past paper discussion. I think that will be helpful for you all. Okay. Now this is your session, students. Do you all want me to discuss chapter wise, or do you want me to discuss paper wise? I was planning to discuss chapter wise, like most of the questions from contract law, the sale of goods ordinance, at least some important ones, right? Easy ones, at least you all can somehow we can do, but the tough ones, what do you say? What do you prefer? My plan was to discuss, chapter wise. Would that be okay? Right? Yeah, I think chapter wise is better, isn't it? Right? That will be helpful for you all. Right. Okay, let's go for that quickly. Right. Now I'll share with you. Chapter wise is better. No, students. Yes, that's what I also was thinking. Right. That will be helpful. Right. Now, as I said earlier, introduction to law, students. I will not be discussing the introduction to law part, but I'll show you some questions. I'll just show you some questions. Let me take it. Right. Because I want to put more time into our discussion of contract law and sale of goods ordinance. Now, if you see, this is the Jan 2023 paper. Okay. Now here, if you see this, now this same question is repeated again and again. It comes one way or the other. Which one of the following law Perera, residual law of Sri Lanka? Residual law, if you see the words, common law in Sri Lanka, residual law in Sri Lanka, all are Roman Dutch law. Okay, Roman Dutch law, right? The others are personal laws or what? Private laws. Canadian law, English law, Muslim law, all are personal laws, or in other words, private law. Okay, Roman Dutch law is English law is there's something called English law. Remember, English law is another law that is governing criminal law, contract law, sale of goods ordinance. So English law is a law that was developed by the English law judges, or established by the judges for the criminal law and contract law aspects, because we didn't have criminal laws when they came in. Okay, that's a historical lesson. It takes time to explain. Okay, so just do the past waves. Okay, now we see this one. Now, if you take the question one, the same. Now see the second one, 1.2. Which one of the following is not a power of the High Court? Right, fundamental jurisdiction is a power of the Supreme Court. When you're studying the powers of the court, study only the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal. That's more than enough. Okay. Right. Now, chapter one will only be based on either 1.1 or 1.2. Now, I'll show you another question. This is July 2022. Okay. See, which one of the following is not a power of the district court? Right. Now, district court. Now, again, if you know the powers of the courts, right? District court only hears civil matters, divorce cases, land cases, breach of contract, civil matters. EPF, ETF means what? Labor law. Labor law always go to labor tribunal. Remember that. Okay. Labor law always goes to labor law matters always go to the labor tribunal. Just remember that. Okay. Right. Now we take some other questions. Let's see. January 2023. Again, the same question repeated. Which one of the following laws is applicable only to Tamil inhabitants from the Jaffna Peninsula in northern Sri Lanka? If you see the word Tamil inhabitants, Jaffna Peninsula, law, right? No other law, right? Should we study all the case laws? Not really. Again, don't study all the case laws. Just study only what is in the past papers. When you are discussing past papers, you will see that. Okay, I'll go through the past papers. Don't worry. Then we'll see what are the cases that you should focus on. Okay, especially for insurance law and sale of goods ordinance and contract law, I'll tell like what are the important case laws. Okay, so don't worry about it. Okay, so now here see chapter 1, only this question, right? They're asking MCQ. Let's go for another one. This is July 2021. Again, which one of the following court has a jurisdiction to interpret the constitution? I told you to study the Supreme Court and Court of Law Appeals powers. If you go through that, you will realize only the Supreme Court has the power to anything regarding with the constitution. Remember, if you see the word constitution, fundamental rights, presidential elections, what do you call this, parliamentary privileges, it's all relevant to Supreme Court. Those are the powers of the Supreme Court. Okay. Civil appellate jurisdiction with the district court, criminal jurisdiction with magistrate court and high court. Okay. Power to issue writs with the court of appeal. Right. So only do the MCQs for the first chapter, students. Please don't waste your time studying too much on other areas. Okay, just do the questions on that areas is more than enough. Okay, now I think let's go to the contract law questions, isn't it? I don't want to waste too much time on no, this is a very easy area. I think can you all manage this part? What do you all think? Do you all need to discuss more questions on the chapter 1, or can you all manage? I think it's better that you all just go through the first 4 or 3 MCQs is more than enough for all the past papers. Okay, just go through them. You will realize that it's the same question again and again. Right, I can show you if you want. Right, yeah, again same question. What is which court has a jurisdiction related to fundamental rights? Supreme Court. This is the other paper. Okay, this is the January 2021. Take July 2020. Which is the most supreme source of law in Sri Lanka? The Constitution. Right. January 2020. Which court has an exclusive jurisdiction regarding fundamental rights? Again, Supreme Court. Same question repeated again and again. So go through 1.1. Just go through the MCQs. Okay, at least the first 4 MCQs, and a few of the the questions like these questions. What do you call these? Yeah, true or false answers. The common law in Sri Lanka is Roman dash law. So you're right, true. Okay, so sometimes they might ask true or false questions from the first chapter as well. Okay. No, don't go regulatory institution. Don't study. No. Only study the focus areas that I told. Regulatory institutions, it's not relevant. Don't study that in way. Right? You won't get a question from that. That's right. Okay. You can leave that out. Study only the focus areas that I showed you now. Right? Study only those. Okay. Right. Let's go to a contract law. Okay. Now, when we are discussing contract law, students, make sure that you remember the ILAC method. Okay, when I'm telling you the answer, I will be telling you based on the ILAC method only. Okay. Right, now this is the latest paper. Okay, January 2023. This question is from Jan 23. Okay. I hope you went through this. I think I okay. Right. Now in this question, right, they are asking, see, explain whether there is a valid contract between Mr. Kalpan and Mr. Ginikana. Now there are 3 parts in here. 15 marks, 3 parts. Let's go for the first one. Mr. Ginikana, a recently retired lawyer who lives in Colombo, decides to move to remote area. Okay. In Monragal. Mr. Ginikana will be moving to this new place at the end of 2023. Therefore, he will no longer need his car, a 5-year-old Benz. On 11th Sunday of December 2022, he placed an advertisement in the notice board of court premises. Remember, notices fall under what? Invitation to offer. They are not offers. Notice board, auctions, advertisements of goods sold in a supermarket. Right? Those are all invitation to offer. Nobody can accept an invitation to offer. Only an offer can be accepted. An invitation to offer cannot be accepted. Please remember that. So when you see an advertisement or a notice like this, you should remember, okay, this is an invitation to offer. Okay. Benz 1948. Now this is the invitation. Yeah. On 12th Monday morning, Mr. Ginikana rings Mr. Kalpan, a newly qualified lawyer, and offers his car to her with the same details on the advertisement. Now he is offering, right? Offering the car to Mr. Kalpan. On the same day, she posted a letter stating that she wants to buy Mr. Ginikana's car on the next 16th Friday morning. This letter was reached to Colombo 12 address by 14th Wednesday. So Mr. Ginikana received this letter on the 14th. Okay. So she is intended by on 16th, but the letter was received on the 14th. On 12th morning, when Mr. Podimaniki, Mr. Ginikana's junior lawyer, saw the advertisement in the notice board, posted the postcard to Mr. Ginikana on the same day, stating that she is willing to pay 3 million for the car. Mr. Ginikana received the postcard on 13th Tuesday. Now the question is, who received the accept? I mean, whose acceptance did Mr. Ginikana receive first? On 13th Tuesday evening, Mr. Ginikana went for a dinner with Mr. Wilfred, and while having dinner, Mr. Ginikana promised to sell the car to Mr. Wilfred for 2.5 million. Okay, now so that is, keep that in mind also. Explain whether there is a valid contract between Mr. Kalpan and Mr. Ginikana. Very easy. Now you can give introduction. Now this is regarding offer. No? So you can give an offer is an unconditional promise to perform the it's an unconditional promise. It should be specific and it should be communicated. Right? So you can tell it's relevant to an offer or an invitation to offer. Now what is the law? Okay, you can give a simple introduction. Okay, you can tell what is a contract as well. Okay, simple introduction would be sufficient. Okay, give an introduction. Now what is the law, students? What is the law applicable here? Now there are few laws, but remember that Adams versus Lindsay, that case, what I just discussed in the sample, that is relevant here, right? For this matter, wait, I think I'll share with you one of the marking schemes. Okay, because I want to show you the case law that they have asked for this. Okay, I hope you can see this. Now you don't have to write like this. Okay, you don't have to write the same thing, right? Now you don't have to write it. Okay, but when it comes to invitation to offer, these Harris versus Nicholson, when it comes to auction, Payne versus Cave, tender, Spencer versus Harding, just writing the name is enough. Got the idea? Just writing the name is more than enough. You don't have to go and explain it. Okay, don't go and explain it, right? Now this one is not written according to our law, because it's written in a very huge way, right? It's written and remember this marking scheme, it is not a only for references. Specific format, please remember that. there is no specific form, specific answering format. Right. Now in this, okay, these are the cases that you should. Pain versus cave, Spence versus Fisher versus Bell. At least remember what it comes under. That is more than enough. Okay, and for the postal rule, all in this case. Okay, remembering this is more than enough. Okay, right. Now let's now you all tell me the answer. Let's discuss in here. Right. First of all, after the intro, you have to tell the law. When you are telling the law, students, remember what I already tell. Write the case law. Right. So what you have to write here is, according to Adams versus Lynn, say when the moment the letter is posted to the post box, that is when acceptance is deemed to be have been applicable. Okay, and under law of acceptance, right? Acceptance should be communicated officially, right? So now the question is, who communicated first and who communicated officially? That is where the application comes into place. Very well, the dates are very important. According to the dates, okay, according to the date, it says that Mr. Ginikana received two acceptance. Okay, one was by Mr. Kalpana, sorry, Miss Kalpana, no, Miss Kalpana, my bad. Okay, Miss Kalpana on 14th of Wednesday. Okay, the other one was by his junior, Mr. Ginikana's junior, Miss Podimanike. Right. Now, who sent first? Was it Podimanike or Ginikana? Who, Miss Kalpana? Whose one did Mr. Ginikana receive first? Received the postcard on 13th. You see, 13th Tuesday. But posted on. But see who posted first? Miss Kalpana on the same day. Now that is where they have not given that date. They have hidden it. You have to find it out on the same day. That is when? On the 12th morning. Okay. It is on the 12th morning. Mr. Ginikana, right, offered Miss Kalpana. And on the same day, she posted a letter. On the same day, she posted the letter. It was received on Wednesday, 14th of Wednesday. But Miss Podimanike sent the letter of acceptance on 13th Tuesday. Then who posted first? It was actually Miss Kalpana. So is there a valid contract between Miss Kalpana and Mr. Ginikana? Yes. Right. So you have to apply that in conclusion. You have to tell yes. Right. Did you understand that? I hope you got it. Okay. So the first for the A part, what you have to understand here is there's a valid contract between Miss Kalpana and Mr. Ginikana. B part, explain whether there is a valid contract between Miss Podimanike and Mr. Ginikana. No, there is no valid contract. Now do you have to write an introduction again? No need. Straight away go to the law now. You have given introduction earlier. You can tell according to the law discussed above, right? Acceptance should be communicated. It is only when acceptance is communicated that it will become valid. Miss Podimanike communicated her acceptance on the 14th, right? On the 12th, on the 13th, whereas Miss Kalpana communicated acceptance on the 12th morning. So therefore, there is no valid acceptance between Miss Podimanike and Mr. Ginikana. Okay, that's all you have right. Okay, 5 marks. Last question, last part. Explain the legal rights of Mr. Wilfred. Now, Wilfred, he promised, okay, on the 13th Tuesday evening, on the 13th Tuesday evening, Mr. Ginikana went for a dinner. And he promised to sell the car to Mr. Wilfred for 2.5 million. He can't promise. Why can't he promise? Because by the time on the 12th morning, on the same day itself, right, because this happened on 13th Tuesday evening, but Miss Kalpana posted the letter on the 12th Monday itself. he already has a contract with Miss Kalpana. So therefore there is no valid right. There's no contract with Mr. Wilfred. So explain the legal rights of Mr. Wilfred. Mr. Wilfred has no legal rights. Right? You can tell Mr. Wilfred there is no agreement between Mr. Wilfred because the contract has been made with Miss Kalpana. However, Mr. Wilfred can, if there was any damages that occurred to him because of the false promise, then he can claim any damages for that, for any reputation damage, whatever. But he can't enforce the contract. He can't enforce to sell the car. Okay, so that is what you have to write in here, right? That's all you have to write there. That's for 5 marks. Okay, right? Is that clear? Please follow the method. Okay, introduction, law, and the application. Okay, please follow that method. Shall we see another paper now, right? Shall we quickly see another paper? Now this area is from one of the elements. Okay, now let's see what are the other areas that have come. All right. Now this is 2022 July. Okay. Question number 7. See what they have asked. Termination of the offer. How to terminate an offer. And but they have mainly asked about the legal rights of Rani against ABC Limited, and explain whether there's a valid contract between Raja and Amal. Remember, this question is regarding again acceptance. Okay, the element acceptance. The question is regarding element of acceptance. So when you're writing the answer, when you're practicing, please write introduction. Please write the law properly. Okay, apply the law and make a conclusion. All right. The question is regarding acceptance. Can one of you tell me what the case law is? Can you all try to tell me what the case law is? Can you remember the case law, the applicable case law? Right. Check. There are 2 case laws that you have to go under acceptance. One is Feldhaus versus Binley. Go through Feldhaus versus Binley. All right. Okay. So, okay. Thank you. Right. The other one is Feldhaus versus Binley. So that silence doesn't amount to acceptance. Okay. Now, this case law is important for the acceptance pass. Please go through Pavel versus Lee. Okay. This question was repeated. Okay. Pavel versus Lee. The same scenario, same thing. Okay. Legal rights of Rani can't enforce. Okay. Because it was unofficially communicated. Okay. Acceptance should be communicated. It should be communicated officially. And silence doesn't amount to acceptance, right? For acceptance should be communicated officially. The case law is Pavel versus Lee. All right. So just go through that. Okay. Then let's go for another case law. Okay, section C. Let's go to this one. Now here there was a hospital. It's about a hospital. Okay, Tina and Tony are suppliers. Now they have entered into a contract with Tina to purchase fresh vegetables. Now what happened in this case? What happened in this scenario is, okay. Again, simply they are asking whether there is a valid contract. Right? To determine whether there is a valid contract, you have to always argue based on the elements, whether there was an offer and whether the elements are fulfilled. But sometimes you will have to discuss about the remedies also. Okay. Now the problem here in what happened in this scenario is that, right, because of the COVID-19, they couldn't fulfill the condition. Now you might not get a question on COVID-19 this time, right? But if you do get because of the maybe because of our that recent issues in the country, right? Okay, economic crisis or any other reason, remember a contract sometimes will die, right? Even though a contract is valid, because of the fault, without the fault of the other parties, the contract may be dead. Okay, we call it that the contract is expired, right, or frustrated. Okay, the contract can be frustrated. Then there's nobody's fault. Nobody's liable there, right? You have to bear your own losses. I will have to bear my own losses, right? It's called a frustration of a contract. Okay, so it's not. You might not get about frustration this time. Don't worry. You might get from one of the elements, right? So you don't have to worry too much about that. But always remember, you have to answer the question where there's a valid contract. To determine that, you have to tell the law, you have to apply, and then go for the law and the application. Okay, right. Now see this one. It's about they again asking whether there's a valid contract between Dr. Perera and Banda. How do I identify whether there's a valid contract? Again, here see this is about acceptance and rejection by a letter by post. What is an applicable case law? Adams versus Lindsay, right? So that is why you have to do the case laws, right? You have to study the case laws only, right? If you study the case laws, this won't be that much difficult. Okay, so please go through the case laws for contract law. The same question you might get this time. You might get from offer, okay, offer and acceptance, right? Go through that. I want now. This is also regarding the same answer that we wrote earlier. Same thing applicable here. Only the situation is different. There's nothing to change actually, right? Same introduction, same law, same application, same conclusion. Only thing is the application, the names are different and the dates are different. Okay, so same scenario. Now, this is by the post, okay, by an auction, right? This is the Nicholson case, right? So if someone is if there's an advertisement, remember an advertisement, is it an offer? No, it's an invitation to offer. So in such a scenario, you don't have to worry. All you have to write is that there is no valid offer, so therefore there is no acceptance held in the place. Okay, so Dasun and auctioneer, there is no valid acceptance, right? Because why? Dasun has accepted an invitation to offer. He can't accept invitation to offer. Harrison was a Nicholson. Please go through that case. Okay, so that is relevant to again offer. Okay, offer and invitation to offer. So almost all the questions that they have asked is from offer acceptance, one question from intention, and one from genuineness of consent. Please focus on those areas only. Okay, right. Again, see an auction, right? Change his mind and withdraw the furniture. Now remember, in an auction, again, remember in an auction when you bid, okay, auction is an invitation to offer. You are the one who is offering in the auction, right? And the auction is the one who is accepting, right? So remember again, same question repeated. This same question repeated. I'm going previous to this 2019 July actually. Same question repeated. Like you don't have to do so far back. At least try the question from 2000 to 2023. Same question, similar scenario, same thing to apply. Simply give introduction, tell the law, apply and conclude, right? You will get question from offer, acceptance, intention, and genuineness of consent. Those are the only areas that they will test for contract law. But remember, do remember that there can be two parts sometimes. You will have to write two different things, right? Like this. But remember the other areas as well. Okay, like under contract law, there are like terms of the contract, how to terminate an offer. So those are secondary areas, but the main areas are from the elements. Please just check them. Okay, right. Now I think I will go to the sale of goods ordinance just to show you what are the sections that they have asked. Okay. Right. Now if you take this, if you take the sale of goods ordinance, let me take the recent paper. I'll take January 2023. I hope you all have gone through that. Now, Darshi bought 1,000 kilograms of sugar from Yaso, right? On Monday, when Yaso prepared to deliver them, Darshi requested Yaso to keep the stock of sugar in Yaso's warehouse until Darshi comes and takes them to her warehouse. On Tuesday night, there was a heavy storm in the area and Yaso's warehouse got flooded. Sugar stock was damaged due to flood. Therefore, Darshi claimed money back and refused to take the sugar stock. Now, how can you answer now? Discuss the legal rights of Darshi and Yaso under the Sale of Goods Ordinance. When you hear the legal rights, remember, you have to determine whether the question is from conditions and warranties, that is section 13, 14, 15 or 16, or whether it is about the transfer of ownership. If you see kilograms, sugar, rice, right, two people, someone buying, delivering, the words deliver, these are keywords I'm telling, okay? It's regarding the transfer of ownership. That means section 19 subsection, section 19, 1 to 5. Most of the time, like 95% of the time, they will ask from 19 subsection 5. 19 subsection 5. Okay. The relevant case law is Pignatoro versus Gilroy. Okay. Make sure you take this down. Okay. 19.5 Pignatoro versus Gilroy. What are the facts of the case? Same facts. That is the same case law. Okay. Nothing different. Right? Pignatoro versus Gilroy, same thing. Same thing happened. Somebody bought sugar, asked the seller to keep it. I'll take it tomorrow. By that night, the same day night, there was a damage to the warehouse and the goods were destroyed. Right? So you have to discuss what is the law you should discuss. Section 9. Tell what is section 19.5. What is section 19.5? It says if goods are in the unascertained, to make them ascertain, the goods should be appropriated. Appropriation can be done when the goods are put into a deliverable state with the consent of the buyer or with the consent of the seller. And the moment the goods are appropriated from the unascertained goods. Okay, that is section 19.5. And tell the similar facts case law. Tell similar case law is Pignatoro versus Gilroy. According to Pignatoro versus Gilroy, the buyer asked the seller to keep some goods overnight. However, they were damaged, and later on, the subcontents under the elements of contract law. I think I showed you earlier. No, wait, I'll show you. Okay. Now there was a question, students. I'll see read that, fill that question and come. Right. That is about the sub questions. Right. These are sub questions. Right. Apart from the elements, these are the ones you should focus. Okay. Right. I'll send the document over. Okay. What shall we write an answer to these, students? Question number 6. Do you want me to show you a sample answer for this? Now, contract law, we wrote a sample. I think I did a sample answer with you, right? That with the log ILAC method, I did a sample answer. Do you want me to give a sample answer for this? What do you think? Or do you want me to discuss another question? Any ideas? Or shall I continue the discussion of the questions? Okay, let's discuss. If you have any questions to discuss, please let me know. Okay, please let me know. Right? Discussing the question means I'm telling you what are the areas that they have tested. Okay, what are the relevant answers that you should discuss. The law. Application, of course, you can do after you identify the law. Application is simply copying the question and writing again, right? With the law, right? And the conclusion. So the relevant law here is 19.5 and Pignatoro versus Gilroy. Okay, 19.5 case law, Pignatoro versus Gilroy. Right. So this is so you have to at last tell whether Darshi can claim money. Okay, question on label. Okay, I'll come to that. Right. Right. Let's go to a 2023 question itself. Okay. So when it comes to sale of goods ordinance, students, please go through section 19.5 and Pignatoro versus Gilroy is an important case law. Please study that. Same case. If you do the 23 this question, more than enough. for 19.5. For section 13, 14, 15, 16, at least section for 13, 14, and 15, do the past papers from 2000. I'll take it, I'll show it to you. Have it with me. You see, now this one is a July 2019. Okay. So there's a manufacturer. Samir is a local manufacturer of bicycles in Kurunagal. His specialty is to manufacture sports bicycles. It carries a description made with iron and original gold-plated rim, which is suitable for any weather condition. Seat is adjustable to any height. Now, this is a description. Remember, when the question is describing, students, it's section 14 all the time. Okay, there's a description, then it is section 14. You need to write section 14. Okay, with section 14, you can write this case law as well, right? Normally, we write Nicole versus Gotts, okay, and also Grant versus Australian individuals, okay. Right. So make sure you write this section 14 and this one. Okay. That's all you have to do for 6 months. Okay. And also mention about section 15 as well. Okay. They expect you to mention when you're writing section 14, just mention section 15 because no one found that the bicycle handle is not suitable for cycling. Okay. Right. Section 15, goods sold for a purpose shall match with the purpose. Okay. And same Grant was Australian individuals. Okay. This case law. And priest versus last. Right. Okay. Let's discuss another area. Okay. I'm gonna go for another area. If you have questions, please drop. Okay. You want me to discuss? There was a question to labor law. Right. I'll take the January 2023 paper, the recent paper. Okay. Now here they are asking the difference between an employee and an independent contractor. Okay. Now before that, the B part is relevant to this top one. I'll read the question for you. A lady mechanical engineer Suraksha had joined Sure Insurance Corporation Limited as a professional motor assessor, as she was found to be suitable to carry out inspections, assessments and investigations connected with motor insurance claims made by the customers to Sure Insurance Corporation Limited. Suraksha joined the Sure Insurance Corporation Limited on 1st June 2020. According to the contract entered into between parties, Suraksha was bound to work for the benefit of Sure Insurance Corporation Limited. If she fails to do so, the company has the ability to terminate the employment. Suraksha should report to the office before 9:30 a.m. every day. Sure Insurance Corporation Limited provided all the necessary equipment, right? Assessors and reimburse the transport also. 2 years later, on 18th June 2022, Sure Insurance Corporation Limited had terminated the service of Suraksha. In this junction, Suraksha had argued that she was an employee of the company. However, the company said she's an independent contractor. So firstly, they're asking to identify the difference between the independent contractor and an employee. How to identify the difference? Explain the difference. You have to use the tests. Now, in my tutorial, in my presentation, you find I have given some tests called control test, okay, integration test, equipment test, okay, there's some called the mixed test, economic reality test. Now you have to discuss these tests. Okay, you have to discuss these tests. Right. After writing these tests, you have to tell, you have to apply and show. How? Now here see they have given hints. According to the contract entered into between parties, Suraksha was bound to work for the benefit of insurance. Benefit means that she's integrated. She's working on behalf of the company. She's earning a salary. That means economic reality, she's not earning a profit, she's earning a salary. In the economic realities, we see whether the person is earning a salary or a, whether the person is earning a salary or a, what do you call this, profit. Okay. So you have to discuss these tests and identify and explain whether in applying the case law, in applying these case facts, right? Whether there's control, who has the control, who provides equipment. Yes, it Sure Insurance Corporation Limited provided all necessary equipment. Right? So then who is providing equipment? The employer. So based on these tests, we have to explain that Suraksha is what? Suraksha is in fact an employee of this Sure Insurance Corporation. She is not an independent contractor. Based on the test, we can identify she is an employee and not an independent contractor. Discuss whether Suraksha could claim her position as an employee against Sure Insurance Corporation. Again, same thing, same scenario. You have to apply. That is actually the application, right? So based on these tests, for the A part, write these tests. For the B part, apply the tests and tell whether she is an independent contractor or a employee. Okay, right. Okay. Any other questions, students? Any other question that you all want me to discuss? Because I believe that you went through the 2023 paper, right? I'm going to discuss the 23 paper, other areas also, right? I want you to tell me whether there are any difficult areas, okay? Because I can focus on them first then, right? And anyway, I'm going to give you time to ask questions, right? Ask questions from all the areas, right? Shall I move on to another area in the 23 paper? Right. Let's take right. Okay, this area, question number 2 under January 2023. This is from students. This is from hire purchase. It is doubtful that you will get the same question again. Only you have to write the legal rights and duties. It's in the presentation. If you want, I can show in the presentation the area. Right. Let me take the presentation and show it to you itself. Independent contractor and employee. Okay. The difference between independent contractor and employees. An employee is governed under the labor laws of Sri Lanka, but an independent contractor is governed under the normally governed under the contract law. Right? You won't get EPF, ETF. All these things are applicable only for an independent contractor. Okay. These what do you call these employees? For them, EPF, ETF, gratuity. If you are a private sector worker, you get gratuity after when you are leaving. All these things are applicable. Right? That is why we need to identify the difference between independent contractor and the employee. That is our reason. Right? I think I explained that when I was doing the session on vLearning also, why we need the difference between independent contractor and the employee. Right? Here, go check the presentation that I have given you all. Right? See, now this I have given to you all. Okay, this is the presentation. Yeah, labor law is applicable only to employees. Okay, it is only applicable to employees and not to independent contractors. Right? Independent contractors are those who are, for example, an electrician who is coming to fix your bulb. He's not working for you. He's not working under you. He has just come for a fee. Okay. Right? Control test. All these things are there. Okay. It's already literally there. Right? You have to, first of all, remember, you have to go through the queue, right? The presentation. Okay. Right. Let me take you all through this Jan 2023 paper. Okay. The question relating to right, the legal rights of NIMAL and the legal rights and obligations. Right. I'll take the presentation for that. Okay. That will be easy for you all, right? Now let me show you like what are the things that the same answer that is coming. Okay, nothing different. If you go to hire purchase. Now the question is between the legal rights and obligations. I have literally given what are the rights of the hirer, right? Now only these four you have to write. There's nothing much to explain. Simply writing this is more than enough. I've given to you what are the obligations of the hirer. Writing those is enough, right? I've given to you what are the rights of the owner. Simply writing them is enough. What are the obligations of the owner? This first one is more than enough. Obligation of owner to supply copies and information, right? So everything is in the presentation. Okay, students, don't worry. Everything is in the presentation. Just a matter of trying the past paper only. Okay, you have to try that, right? Now, did you all do the 2023 paper? Anyone of you? Did you all try it on your own, or did you all just come to this thing? Is it? Right. Now, when you go to law of agency, question number 3, law of agency. Okay, relevant rules governing the ratification. Right. That is under ratification. I told you to go under focus area after the creation of an agency. See, creation of agency. These under creation of an agency, and also again creation of an agency. Okay, so this question is repeated again, right? Please go through the focus area, creation of an agency, and the duties of the agents. Okay, for question number 4, under partnership, they'll always ask about the duties. Doesn't matter the question, they'll always ask about the duties. Most of the time, it is about secret profit, and it is about also about the we call it a. Sometimes a partner will put up another business. We call it a comparative practice, anti-comparative practice. Okay, so please go through the duties of the partner, right, and the legal rights, right, and the dissolution of partner. Now these are the focus areas. Okay, now these are always anyway coming, right? It's just a matter of going through the presentation and writing the answer. Okay, so just go through that, read the question, just go through that presentation which I did for you all. Okay, right. Question number 5 is about the Consumer Affairs Authority. Students, please don't study the chapter 10. Just check my presentation, more than enough, right? I'm guaranteeing it to you. Just check my presentation, more than enough. There's nothing for you to go through else. Even if you take the 2016 to 23 past papers, all the answers are available for you in the presentation which I have given to you under chapter 10. Okay, so this is regarding chapter 10. This is what we discussed earlier. Question number 6 under sale of goods ordinance, and finally question number 7 is on the contract law. Right now, so the structure of the paper is as we discussed. Okay, so focus areas are also as we discussed. Okay, now now this is where your obligation comes in, right? These are the things that you should go through. The focus areas, that we just discussed is more than enough. Go through the focus areas that I have given to you and do the recommended form of studying that I have recommended. Okay, nothing much to be discussed other than that, right? So without any much wasting our time, I would just recommend you to focus your 3 hours in this manner. Remember, don't spend more than half an hour on the MCQs. Okay, you have only 1 minute. Only focus on 1 minute for the MCQs. If you know the answer, you know the answer. If you don't know the answer, you don't know the answer. Don't think too much. Okay, if you know the answer, mark them and go. If you don't know the answer, don't waste your time thinking, right? If you remember, you can come back and mark, but do not waste your time thinking 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Do not waste it. Okay, if you know the answer, you know the answer, right? So finish your MCQs at least within 20 to half an hour, 20 minutes to 30 minutes. You have to spend another at least 1 hour or at least 1.5 hours on the section B. 1.5 hours on section B, right? Then keep at least 1 hour for the last question. That is question number 7. Even though it's like one question, it's 3 parts. Keep at least one hour for the last question, because sometimes it can be part B also, right here. Part B and part A. So you need 1 hour, 30 minutes each, right? That is how you are going to divide the time. Okay, 30 minutes for the MCQs, 1.5 hours. Okay, that means let's say your exam starts at 1 o'clock. Let's just assume. Okay, so if it starts at 1 o'clock, right, until 1:30 you can do the MCQs. Then until 2:30, do the section B. Okay, because it maybe 3 hours now, right? Okay, so until 1:30, do the MCQs. Until around I would say 2:15, do the section B. Then from 2:15, the maximum 45 minutes, the last hour, focus on the section C. That is the last part. Okay, that is how you are going to manage your time. That is how you should allocate your time. But that is only a suggestion. I mean, there are some students who can write faster. Then it depends on your writing style. It depends on how we are going to answer the questions at the day. So if you want to improve time management, you have to practice your answers. There is no other way around it. You have to practice your answers. That is the best way, right? Apart from that, now we just discussed some past papers. I told you the main way to answer the format. It doesn't matter how you write the answer, right? If you follow my answer format, it will anyway cover everything, right? Introduction, the law, then the application, and then the conclusion, right? Everything will be covered there, right? It's just application if you write in the answer, right? Okay, I want to allocate the remaining time for your questions, right? I believe that you all might have gone through any other areas, any clarifications. Now this is your time to ask for any clarifications, because this is not the time for me to go through lessons, but for clarifications. Okay, so if you all do have any clarification, this is the perfect time. If you have any questions, if you have a doubt in any past paper question also, you can raise it now, right? If you have any issue in the focus area or anything that we discussed so far, that is the time now, right? Do you have any clarifications? Go ahead. I'll allocate another 10 to 15 or 20 minutes for that, right? Okay, you want the target areas. Okay, sure. What I'll do is I'll send these two documents to the team. Okay, the focus areas are on this way. Okay, the focus areas are on this document. I'll ask them to share the document with you. Okay, for the focus area. So get this document. Okay, I'll share it with you. Is it okay? Shall I share it with you? I think that's okay, no? All the focus areas are on here. Okay, yeah. Focus your study on. Focus your study on. Okay, these are the focus areas. Okay, I have given it for all the 10 chapters I have provided, and how to study also I have provided. So you can just okay. So they'll share it on the WhatsApp group itself. So, okay, so then no problem. You'll get this document. No problem. Okay. Any other questions apart from the focus areas? Any clarifications? To ask clarifications, I believe you all have gone through. We started the session on the belief that you all have studied or you all have gone through these things. If not, if you are any misunderstandings, like if you don't understand any area in any chapter, please ask. Like I can explain now. That's fine. In any chapter, chapter 1, chapter 2, anything that which you missed, which you don't understand. If you go through my presentations, more than enough anyway. But still, if you didn't understand anything, you can ask now. Yeah. You can type or you can, you can speak up also, right? I'll stay for another probably for another 5 to 10 minutes, okay, to see whether you all have any other issues, because I don't want to waste your time also, right? There's nothing much to discuss in law. It's a pretty easy area, students, right? Now, I don't want law to be a burden because you all have other subjects as well, right? So don't make this a burden. It's pretty easy, right? Not that difficult, right? If now, my advice is now tell me honestly, how many of you all have actually started studying, because then I can tell you what to do now, what you all can do now. Have all of you all started studying, or have you all started the subject matter? Have you all gone through like all the vLearning subjects? Okay, so you all have started studying. Okay, some have started. Very good. Right. If you all have a question, you can ask. Okay. All right. So very good. Okay, that's good. Keep it up. Okay. Now these are very easy area. Starting. Okay, very good. Right. Now, if you have started studying, keep going. Now you all have closer to 1 month. Okay. But my advice is students for law, right? It's actually the trick is not about. It's not about studying everything. Okay. That's why I gave you the focus areas. And I told you how to study, the recommended form of studying. Okay. Don't spend now for chapter 1, don't spend unnecessary time, right? If you have not started studying now, okay, for those who have not started studying, focus on this document. I'll send this document to the WhatsApp group. Follow the instructions in this document. More than enough. You can definitely get through the exam. No, more than enough. Those who started studying, keep going and follow the instructions of this document. You can definitely go for an A. No doubt about that, right? All the presentations that I have done, all the answers are there, students. It's just if you do find something, let's say if you did not find anything, right? I think my number is also in WhatsApp in the group. It's there. Okay, these students, but I normally share my contact details for clarifications, right? I can share it here also. If you, let's say you all started studying and now you all have an issue, right? So today we have started the revision session early also, no? But let's say when you are studying in the next week or in the closer to the exam, if you have any issue, please you can contact me through my email. Okay, you can send me an email as well. If not, you can send me your question properly on WhatsApp. Okay. If I did not answer within 1 day, you can just give me a ring card. Okay, because sometimes I might miss messages. But normally I respond within 24 hours. I definitely respond. When it is close to the exam, I allocate time for you all to respond. Don't worry. So if you have any issues, don't hesitate. Okay, do not hesitate. Always ask me. Clarify and go to the exam. Okay, clarify your doubts and go to the exam. Maybe you don't have doubts now because you haven't started a lot of into the study field. So it's fine. Then if you haven't started studying, if you are only at the beginning stages of your studies, you will get questions in the later stage. You will definitely get more questions, more clarification. So then you can ask me. But when you are starting to study, follow the format that I gave you. Okay, answering format, follow the ILAC method, and for the questions, okay, the focus areas, follow my instructions in the document that I given. That is more than sufficient. Okay. If there are no other questions, okay, I'll ask again. Is there any other questions? Yeah, because otherwise, I think we can end it for today. Otherwise, yeah. Any other questions? No, right? Okay, so just a reminder, right? Now there will be other sessions, right? I think most of the time there will be other physical sessions, or the lecturer might do it on the, they might do it on the studio itself, right? Unlike me here, because I have some issues that I can travel, right? So they might conduct real life, real time, right? Okay, real time lecture series or revision on these other subjects of your AAT modules. Including AT 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? So for your level, all the other subjects will also be conducted, right? So there are much better qualified lecturers for that. So they will help you on that, and I think it will be in the upcoming future dates, right? You will find them. The team will instruct you on regarding the upcoming materials. So please join us for those ones as well, because you will definitely need the sessions when it is close to the exam. Unlike law, of course, the other accounting subjects, you will definitely need the help of the other lecturers. Law, of course, you can find the knowledge anywhere, but if you need any help, I'm always available, right? If you need any answers, you can find them through my presentation also. Still, if you can't identify anything, please contact me. Don't hesitate. It is fine, right? I'm always available to help. So yeah, please, right? Stay on touch, right? Focus on your upcoming other modules as well. The teams will upload the details and the dates when the other revision will be conducted. most probably, I think closer to the exam, right? I wanted to finish law now itself, so then you can have idea on how to start the law, okay? Because doing a theory subject close to the exam is not easy, right? It will be too much for you all, so that's why I started this today. It's not about the, actually not about the revision lectures mainly, it's about how you should study for the law exam. That is why I share the documents for the format of the answer and also the focus area, so that you know what to study and how to study for the exam. Okay, that is the whole purpose of today's lesson, right? And also to discuss some of the past papers, or how to answer the past paper, because past papers same questions, different answers. Okay, same questions, just the way you answer application is different. Okay, otherwise same thing, it's the same thing. Okay, so you don't have to worry about it. If you follow my instructions, you will get through the exam. Don't worry about it. So trust me and get on with the instructions and follow the instructions. Okay. And if you find it difficult somewhere along the road, please contact me and clarify your doubts and do your best. Okay. Yeah. And also, dear students, there is a feedback form. Please fill that and send. I think they will send it in the WhatsApp group as well. Right. Please fill the feedback form. Okay, please fill it because it will help us to see what to improve. It will help me also to improve to any other future students. Right, you can always answer honestly. You don't have to lie in the feedback form. Answer honestly. If it was valuable to you, tell it was valuable. If it was not, tell that also, so that other lecturers can improve. Okay, other lecturers can improve and give you a better service. Right. So make sure that you fill the feedback form so that even you will benefit from that. Even both parties, it's a win-win situation. So consider in that, please fill the feedback form as well. Okay. So the students who joined today and listen to me all this time, thank you for your time. Right. Please get the best out of the answering format and the focus areas. And once again, stay in touch with us for the rest of the session. Okay, with that, as there are no other questions, I will end the session for today. Okay, so students, thank you for joining, right, and have a nice evening.